With me is Dima Moussa. Dima is Vice President of the National Coalition of Syrian Revolution and Opposition Forces. Dima Moussa, thank you for coming into the studio.
Thank you for hosting me.
The battle for Aleppo lasted between 2012 and 2016. There were moments during that battle when the international media were showing pictures of people relaxing in the sun, having a coffee, talking with their friends on one side of Aleppo, while on the other side there was destruction and devastation going on. How much is that true of Syria today? How much is it like what we've seen in this report? And how much is it in any way vaguely normal?
Well, it was somewhat true at that point. The regime was trying to show people that if you live in regime-controlled areas, you have a normal life, the sun is shining, you can have your coffee, birds are chirping, and if you're with the opposition, you're a terrorist, you have to suffer and live through these conditions. Now that the regime is still trying to sort of portray that picture, but now the reality is not like that. Right now there are IDPs all over Syria because the regime retook a lot of the areas that were under opposition control. There are internally displaced people in regime-controlled areas as well, and I don't think anybody is believing that picture anymore. They do also suffer from different set of conditions than the IDPs in the other two areas in Syria, which is the opposition-controlled area in Idlib in the northwest, and also in the northeast, which is under the control of SDF and ISIS in very small pockets.
In terms of internally displaced people who are living in camps, who's running the camps? Is it rebel forces? Is it NGOs? Is it the regime itself? And is there a difference in how those camps are run depending on who's responsible for them?
So the camps that are in the non-regime controlled areas, they're being serviced by the different NGOs that can reach them. Because the UNHCR and other UN agencies don't go in there, don't provide as much of the direct assistance that they usually would provide in regime-controlled areas, because they still officially have to deal with the government that is recognized, unfortunately, by the international community, by the UN system at least. So these camps are run by whoever is present in those areas, and as you know, a lot of the assistance has stopped to a lot of the organizations that are present there. Civil society was trying to help. Some civil society organizations were trying to help. Some humanitarian groups were trying to help, but the assistance that's coming to them is dwindling down because a lot of the countries, a lot of the governments that were providing that support now use the presence of terrorists as an excuse to not send assistance to those areas.
Because of your position in the organization that you represent, can we leave Bashar al-Assad out of the equation? Because I know that you will say that the future of Syria can only be resolved if he leaves. Let's not consider his position.
Okay.
How might the war be resolved without considering Bashar al-Assad's position as the head of the regime?
Well, the conditions need to be set out, or there needs to be pressures to ensure that people are able to go back to their homes. We need to eliminate the reasons why they left to begin with. A lot of it has to do with the military operations. A lot of it has to do with being detained and disappearing, forcibly disappearing. A lot of it has to do with the destruction of their homes. I think the main reason are probably the military operations and being chased by whoever is in control in the areas. Now, unfortunately, I can't not go back to the point you made, because these things cannot happen as long as this regime continues to exist or continues to operate the way it is operating. Once it stops operating the way it is operating, it will cease to be, because it actually thrives on holding people hostage within their country.
Dima Moussa, thank you very, very much indeed. Appreciate it.